I'm Alethea Allen. I live in Las Vegas, Nevada. I have had the honor of being in the first class of the REACH program in the state of Nevada. My teacher and my friend was Shanna, and she came to visit me periodically in the program. Let me tell you a little bit about why I requested to be part of this program. I also am in a network of caregivers, some wonderful women who some have become widows, and even widows have their own support group. And there was an incident last year when the caregivers whose husbands have already passed were having a meeting, and my name was brought up. And a woman that is very instrumental in working with the Alzheimer's Association in Las Vegas by the name of Jean George heard about me. And she listened to the story that my good friend evidently told her about me. And Jean was very quiet and said, "Does she have a death wish?" Well, my friend Jan told me this. She told me, I think because she wanted to shock me into realizing that I needed some support and help other than what I was receiving. At about the same time, I heard about the REACH program, and so I called and requested that my name would be considered. In due time, Shanna called me and offered me that opportunity. And through that experience, I became part of REACH. REACH for me has been a journey. It took me from being very, very frightened of the situation that my husband Jay and I were in, to feeling more confident, not completely confident, but more confident, and with options and support that I hadn't thought about and that I didn't know about. And so we began the REACH program. It took me, I'm a slow learner, it took me maybe 3-4 months to realize that the REACH program was not going to do for me what I had originally thought it would. My objective was to be able to change Jay, who is my husband and who has Lewy Body Dementia. Of course, I knew that you don't change dementia, but I also knew that our home was becoming so disorganized and almost crazy in some ways, and that I needed to manipulate or to find ways to change him. And then one day, as I was working on some of the daily things that Shanna asked me to work on, I realized, wait a minute, Shanna isn't helping me change Jay. He's helping me change me. It took me so long to get that. And when I first really understood that, I felt very, very foolish. But then, as I began to work, I realized I have an opportunity that Jay isn't going to change. It was almost like experiencing a death, because I wanted him to be who he was. We've been married 56 years. And I guess I hadn't come to grips to the fact that he is who he is, and also that he must be allowed to be who he is. And so maybe that was one of my first lessons, was that I must give Jay the opportunity to change. And that also included some of the grief and the pain, mental grief and pain that he was experiencing, that I wanted to go away or wanted to deny. But he needed to be able to experience that in a safe and a loving environment. Maybe the second thing I learned was that even though I was afraid of what we were experiencing and what the future would bring, that I was going to have to step into this feet first and be a part of the world of dementia. Almost like living a parallel life. Shanna helped me realize that I could do this. And one of the ways I did it was through a program she devised called a thought record. And briefly, a thought record is identifying a problem and then figuring out what all the alternatives could be, what you could do, and then to make a decision. Not just think about it, but to make it and to carry it through. That way, I learned that I don't need to just let it roil inside of me, give me anxiety, but I need to go ahead and to do what I've decided on paper that I had decided to do. This has helped reduce my fear and my anxiety and made me feel that I was more in control of my own life. Another thing the REACH program did was to help me realize, maybe Shanna and the REACH program together, helped me realize that I could still love my husband even though he wasn't the same person. And he never is going to be the same person. And often he's a very angry person. But she helped me realize that you can safely love someone with all your heart and still watch them change. And I think that she did that just by our quiet talks, talk about the change that Jay does make. One of them being, nothing is ever right, and it never will be, because that's part of the journey of dementia. Another is that everything's so short-term that Jay does not realize there's any consequences to anything he does. He works on a feeling level. And that for me to communicate with him, I must love him and work on that level with him also. And I guess the last thing the REACH program has done is it has given me a future of knowing that through the REACH program, what I've learned is that life is not going to end, that we will get through this, and that if I take a deep breath and allow him to be who he is, to love him and to give everything I've got, and yet to realize I have my own identity and to set those boundaries that the REACH really helped me learn. Our life does not get better as far as the progression of the Lewy body, but I feel very strong, I feel centered, and I feel I have support because the people in the REACH program have not left me, and the REACH program itself has not left me. And I also appreciate the workbook that I have to go with it. I look at so often, and it gives me the courage and the calmness to know that next day will be just fine. Thank you.